Captain James Walker stood on the bridge of humanity's newest and most powerful warship, the EDF Vengeance. The massive vessel stretched over 2 miles long, its black hull dotted with weapon ports that could unleash destruction unlike anything humans had built before. Through the main viewport, Earth hung like a blue jewel against the darkness of space. It looked so peaceful from up here, so fragile. "Captain, all systems are ready," said Lisa Reed, his executive officer. Her voice was steady, but her eyes showed the same worry they all felt. Walker nodded. "Thank you, XO. Let's hope we never have to use them." The ship had been built after years of secret work. Every nation on Earth had contributed resources, scientists, and soldiers to this project. It was the first time in human history that the entire planet had worked together on something this big. Because now, they knew they were not alone, and they knew they were in danger. "Captain, Admiral Jones is calling from Earth Command," said Emma Wilson from her communication station. Her fingers moved quickly over the glowing panel. "Put him on the main screen," Walker ordered. The stern face of Admiral Jones appeared before them. His gray hair was cut short, and deep lines marked his face from years of hard decisions. "Captain Walker, is the Vengeance ready for its mission?" the Admiral asked. "Yes, sir. All weapons systems are online. The crew is prepared." The Admiral nodded. "Good. The object we detected has changed course. It's definitely heading toward us now." Walker felt his stomach tighten. For months, Earth's long-range sensors had been picking up strange signals. Something was destroying planets in distant star systems, planets very much like Earth. The pattern of destruction seemed to be moving in their direction. "How long do we have?" Walker asked. "The scout ship will reach the outer planets in 72 hours, Admiral Jones answered. "The main fleet is still far behind, but this scout is moving fast. We need to know what we're dealing with." Mike Thompson, the chief engineer, spoke up from his station. "Sir, if we push the new engines to full power, we could intercept the scout ship near Neptune." "That's the plan," said the Admiral. "Captain Walker, your orders are simple. Find out what this thing is, and if it's hostile, destroy it. We can't let it report back to its fleet about Earth's location." "Understood, sir." After the Admiral signed off, Walker turned to his bridge crew. These were the best officers Earth had to offer. Thompson, the brilliant engineer who had helped design the ship's revolutionary power systems. Alan Davis, the tactical officer whose quick reflexes had saved lives in the old Mars conflict. Emma Wilson, who could understand and translate signals no one else could make sense of. "Listen up," Walker said. "We all know why we're here. Something is destroying Earth-like planets across the galaxy. We don't know why, but the pattern is clear. They are heading our way." He pulled up a star map on the main screen. Red dots marked the destroyed worlds. "Whatever is doing this, it only targets planets like ours. Blue worlds with water and life. They leave everything else alone." Lisa Reed stepped forward. "The scientists are calling them the Void. The planets they destroy are left completely lifeless, not just bombed, but somehow empty, like something sucked out all trace of life." Walker nodded. "Our mission is to intercept their scout ship before it can scan Earth and report back. If possible, we'll try to communicate, but if they show any hostile intent, we blow them to hell," said Davis, his hand resting on the weapons console. "Exactly," Walker agreed. "Humanity has never faced a threat like this before. For all we know, we might be the last Earth left." The crew was silent as the weight of those words sank in. "Set course for Neptune," Walker ordered. "Maximum speed." The EDF Vengeance broke orbit, its massive engines glowing blue against the blackness of space. As Earth grew smaller behind them, Walker felt the heavy burden of command. 7 billion lives depended on them. Perhaps they were the last defenders not just of Earth, but of all life like theirs in the galaxy. 3 days later, they'd waited in Neptune's shadow. The gas giant's swirling blue clouds hid them from direct detection. "Anything, Emma?" Walker asked. Emma adjusted her headset. Still nothing clear, sir. But there's something out there. The signals are unlike anything in our databases. There. Alain pointed to a blip on the tactical display, coming in fast from the Kuiper belt. Walker leaned forward. On screen. The view screen showed only darkness at first. Then, as the ship's powerful cameras focused, they saw it. A sleek, dark shape moving against the stars. It wasn't large, perhaps a quarter the size of the Vengeance, but something about it sent chills down Walker's spine. It seemed to absorb the light around it, its surface a shifting pattern of darkness. What is that thing made of? Mike wondered aloud. It's slowing down, Lisa reported. I think it's scanning the system. Walker made his decision. We can't let it find Earth. Battle stations. Red lights flashed as the crew rushed to their positions. The Vengeance's engines powered up, pushing the massive ship out from behind Neptune. Sir, Emma called out, her voice tight with tension. I'm picking up a transmission from the alien ship. It's sending something toward Earth. Intercept course, full speed, Walker ordered. Alain, ready all weapons. The Vengeance shot forward, revealing itself to the alien scout. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the alien ship changed course, accelerating away from them. It's running, Lisa said. It saw us. Now it's trying to get back to warn its fleet, Walker said grimly. We can't let that happen. Alain, target their engines. The Vengeance's weapon ports opened, revealing rows of laser cannons and missile tubes. The alien ship suddenly released a pulse of energy that washed over them. What was that? Walker demanded. Some kind of scan, Mike reported. It just took our measure. The alien ship stopped retreating. It turned to face them, its dark hull seeming to shift and change. Small ports opened along its surface. I think we have our answer about whether they're hostile, Lisa said quietly. All crews, brace for impact, Walker announced over the ship-wide comm. This is not a drill. We are engaging an alien vessel. The future of Earth depends on us now. As the first energy bolts flew between the ships, Captain Walker knew humanity's long period of solitude in the universe was over. The question now is whether they would survive this new chapter. The war for Earth's survival had begun. The first blast from the alien ship hit the Vengeance hard. The bridge shook, and warning lights flashed red across every console. Damage report. Captain Walker shouted over the noise of alarms. Mike Thompson checked his engineering displays. Shields holding at 82%, Captain. That wasn't just a warning shot. They'd meant to hurt us. The alien vessel moved with surprising speed for its size, circling around to attack again. Its dark hull seemed to shift and flow like liquid shadow. Alain, return fire. Target their weapon systems, Walker ordered. Tactical Officer Davis nodded. His fingers moved quickly over the weapons console, firing main lasers. Brilliant beams of energy shot out from the Vengeance, streaking across space toward the alien ship. At the last second, the enemy vessel twisted in a way that seemed to defy physics, and most of the lasers missed. What the hell? Davis muttered. It's like it knew exactly where we were aiming. Try again, Walker said. Fire pattern Delta, spread the beams out. This time, some of the lasers hit their target. The alien ship shuddered, and a small explosion bloomed on its surface. Emma Wilson called out from her station. Captain, I'm picking up strange signals from the alien ship. It's like it's talking to itself. What do you mean? Walker asked, gripping the arm of his command chair as another blast rocked the ship. The signals are internal communications, Emma explained, but they're unlike anything I've ever seen. Multiple frequencies, changing patterns, almost like what? Like a conversation between different parts of the ship. Before Walker could process this information, the alien vessel fired again. This time, the blast was different, a pulse of blue energy that washed over the Vengeance. Shields down to 60%, Mike reported. Whatever that was, it went right through our outer defenses. Lisa Reed pointed to the tactical display. They're making a run for it, heading back toward the outer system. Walker made a quick decision. Pursue them. We can't let them report back about Earth. The Vengeance's massive engines roared to life, pushing the warship forward. Despite its size, the human vessel began to gain on the alien scout. They're leading us somewhere, Lisa said quietly to Walker. This feels like a trap. Walker nodded. I know, but we have no choice. Alan, ready the prototype weapon. Davis looked up in surprise. Sir, we haven't tested it in actual combat. Now's as good a time as any, Walker said grimly. If this is a trap, we need something they won't expect. The chase continued for hours, taking them past Neptune and toward a small, dying star at the edge of the solar system. The alien ship maintained its lead but never quite escaped. They're slowing down, Lisa reported suddenly. We're almost in weapons range again. Ready the prototype, Walker ordered. Mike, how's our power? The engineer checked his readings. Fusion reactors at 95%. We've got enough juice for one good shot. As they approached the dying star, the alien vessel suddenly stopped and turned to face them. New ports opened along its hull, revealing what looked like massive weapon emplacements. They were holding back before, Davis said, his voice tense. Those are planet killers. Walker stood up from his chair. This ends now. Ellen, fire the prototype weapon. Davis pressed a sequence of commands. From the underside of the Vengeance, a special port opened, revealing a cannon unlike any other human weapon. It began to glow with an intense white light. Weapon charge, Davis announced. Firing in 3, 2, 1. A beam of pure white energy shot out from the Vengeance, connecting with the alien ship in an instant. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, the darkness of the alien hull began to crack, lines of white light spreading across its surface. It's working, Mike exclaimed. The quantum disruptor is breaking down their molecular structure. The alien ship fired back, desperate now. A powerful blast hit the Vengeance directly, causing major damage to the lower decks. Hull breach on Deck 12. Lisa reported. Emergency force fields engage. Keep firing, Walker ordered. Don't let up. The quantum disruptor continued its work, the white energy eating away at the alien vessel. Suddenly, there was a flash of intense light, and a shock wave rolled out from the alien ship. The Vengeance rocked violently as the wave hit them. When they could see again, the alien ship was in pieces, most of its hull destroyed. But a small central section remained intact, drifting among the debris. We did it, Davis said, almost not believing it. We actually took it down. Life signs? Walker asked. Emma checked her sensors. There's something still alive in that central section. Faint, but definitely there. Walker exchanged looks with Lisa. This is our chance to learn what we're facing. Prep a boarding team. 2 hours later, Walker stood in the Vengeance's high-security lab, staring at their prisoner. The alien didn't look like anything they had expected. It had no fixed shape, its body a shifting mass of gray matter that sometimes formed limbs or features before dissolving back into formlessness. It was contained in a special chamber with powerful force fields. The science team had determined it breathed a similar atmosphere to humans, but required much less oxygen. Can it understand us? Walker asked Dr. Helen Morgan, the ship's chief scientist. I think so, Morgan replied. It responds to sounds and movements. And look at this. She pressed a button, causing a simple image to appear on a screen inside the alien's chamber, a basic star map. The alien's form shifted, extending a limb-like appendage toward the image. It touched specific points, stars where Earth-like planets had been destroyed. It knows what it's done, Lisa said softly. It's not just some mindless destroyer. Emma stepped forward with a tablet. Sir, I've been working on decoding their communications. I think I have a basic translation algorithm. She typed something, and the tablet displayed a simple message. Who you? The alien's form rippled. After a moment, a sound emerged from it, a series of clicks and hums that the translation software attempted to process. Protector. Emma read from the tablet. It says it's a protector. Walker stepped closer to the chamber. Ask it what it's protecting. Emma typed the question. The alien's response came quicker this time. Galaxy, life, future. Emma translated. Sir, I think it believes it's saving the galaxy by destroying Earth-like planets. Walker frowned. Ask it why. After Emma typed the question, the alien seemed to hesitate. Its form contracted into a tighter ball, then expanded again. The sounds it made were more complex this time. The infection grows on blue worlds, Emma read, her voice growing concerned. It says, the hunger wakes. It spreads. It consumes all. What hunger? Walker demanded. The alien's form shuddered. You carry it. Emma translated. All Earth worlds carry it. Must destroy before it spreads. Walker felt a chill run through him. It thinks we're some kind of disease. Sir, Emma said, looking up from her tablet. There's more. It's saying something about a collective. I think it's trying to tell us it's not alone. It's part of something bigger. Walker nodded slowly. We'll call it gray for now, he said, referring to the alien's colorless, shifting form. Keep working on communication. I want to know exactly what we're facing. As they left the lab, Lisa spoke quietly to Walker. Do you think it's telling the truth? That they're destroying planets to save the galaxy from some kind of infection? I don't know, Walker replied. But I do know one thing. They still plan to destroy Earth. And we can't let that happen. What neither of them noticed was the slight flicker in the ship's lights as they walked down the corridor, or the momentary glitch in the security cameras watching Gray's chamber, the first signs that something was already wrong aboard the Vengeance. The EDF Vengeance moved silently through the debris field of a destroyed planet. Chunks of rock that had once been mountains and continents now floated in endless darkness. Captain Walker stood by the main viewport, his face grim as he watched the remains drift past. This was their work, he said quietly. An entire world just gone. The third one we found, Lisa replied, standing beside him. All Earth-like planets, all completely destroyed. 5 days had passed since they captured Gray. The alien remained in its containment chamber, sometimes communicating, sometimes falling into long periods of silence. Meanwhile, the Vengeance had followed the path of destruction left by the Void Fleet, hoping to learn more about their enemy. Captain, Emma called from her station. I'm picking up transmissions. Lots of them. Walker turned quickly. From where? About 2 light hours ahead. It's the same type of signals we detected from the scout ship, but much stronger. I think. She paused, adjusting her equipment. I think it's the main Void Fleet. The bridge fell silent. Everyone knew what that meant. If the scout ship had nearly overwhelmed them, a fleet would be unstoppable. Can you decode any of it? Walker asked. Emma nodded. Some. The translation algorithm is getting better the more we hear. They're discussing their next target. She looked up, her expression troubled. Sir, there's another Earth-like planet ahead, and it has life on it. Walker's decision was immediate. Set course for that planet. Maximum speed. Captain, Lisa questioned. Our orders were to gather intelligence and return to Earth. If there's a living world in their path, we need to see what happens, Walker said firmly. We need to know exactly what we're facing. The journey took another day. As they approached the target system, they kept their distance, using the ship's advanced sensors to observe from afar. There it is, Mike said, putting the image on the main screen. The planet looked remarkably like Earth. Blue oceans, white clouds, green and brown landmasses. Sensors showed an oxygen-nitrogen atmosphere and abundant plant life. But there was something else. I'm detecting artificial structures, Ellen reported. Cities. Technology. This planet has intelligent life. Primitive compared to us. Lisa noted, checking the readings. Their technology level is similar to Earth's early 20th century. They haven't even reached their moon yet. Walker made a decision. We need to warn them. Sir, Alan objected, if we reveal ourselves, we might lead the Void Fleet straight to Earth. We can't just watch them die, Walker replied. Emma, can you send a message that they might understand? Something basic, warning of danger. Before Emma could answer, new alerts sounded across the bridge. Multiple ships dropping out of faster-than-light travel. Alan called out, "It's the Void Fleet." The main screen showed dozens of ships appearing around the planet. They were similar to the scout ship but larger, their dark hulls shifting and flowing like liquid shadow. They formed a ring around the planet, keeping perfect formation. They haven't detected us yet, Lisa said. We're just outside their sensor range. Record everything, Walker ordered. We need to see what they do. For hours, the void ships maintained their position. Then, one by one, they extended long, spike-like appendages toward the planet. Energy readings are off the charts, Mike reported. They're charging some kind of weapon. Walker watched in helpless horror as beams of intense energy shot from each ship, connecting with the planet's surface. At first, nothing seemed to happen. Then, slowly, the blue oceans began to darken. The green landmasses turned brown, then gray. It was as if all color was being drained from the world. They're not destroying it physically, Lisa whispered. They're emptying it somehow. Sir, Emma said suddenly, I've decoded more of their transmissions. They keep referring to something called the hunger. They believe it's hiding on these planets. Take us to the containment lab, Walker ordered. I want answers from Gray. Now. In the lab, Gray's shifting form seemed more agitated than usual. It moved rapidly within its chamber, forming and reforming limb-like appendages. It knows what's happening, Dr. Morgan said. It can sense the fleet nearby. Walker approached the chamber. We need to talk, Gray. Your people are killing an entire world out there. A world with billions of living beings on it. Emma translated Walker's words through her tablet. Gray's response came quickly. Not killing. Saving. Emma read. Removing the infection before it spreads. What infection? Walker demanded. Show us. Gray's form extended toward the communication screen. Using the simple interface they had provided, it brought up an image of what looked like a small glowing particle. The hunger begins small, Emma translated. It hides inside life. Grows with intelligence. When life reaches stars, hunger spreads. Are you saying there's some kind of parasite on Earth-like planets? Walker asked. Gray's form pulsed. In the beginning, life and hunger were separate, but hunger learned to hide inside life. It guides evolution, makes intelligence, makes technology, all to spread itself. Walker felt a chill run through him. And you think this hunger is on Earth? That it's in humans? In all Earth worlds, Emma translated Gray's response. Hunger has many forms, many stages. You carry old form, still growing. Other worlds, hunger is awake, must be stopped. As if to emphasize Gray's point, the ship's lights flickered again, more noticeably this time. Mike checked his tablet. Power fluctuations on Deck 7. That's the third time today. Alan Davis, who had been quietly observing, suddenly spoke up. Captain, we need to return to Earth immediately. If what Gray is saying is true, we can't just accept this creature's word. Lisa interrupted. It could be trying to justify genocide. Walker held up his hand for silence. Emma, ask it one more question. Ask if there's a way to remove this hunger without destroying entire planets. Emma typed the question. Gray's response was slow in coming. Too late once hunger takes root, Emma read. Must burn out completely. Tried containment before. Failed. Always escapes. A new alarm sounded, and Alan quickly checked his tablet. Sir, The Void Fleet is finishing its work. The planet. He hesitated. The planet is dead. All life signs gone. And they're changing formation. I think they're preparing to move on. Back to the bridge. Walker ordered. We need tow. He was interrupted by a sudden power failure. The lights went out completely, and emergency lighting activated seconds later. What happened? Walker demanded. Mike was already checking the systems. Major power failure in the main reactor. It's like something interfered with the control systems. Dr. Morgan looked at Gray's chamber with new suspicion. The containment field held, but, Captain, I think Gray might be able to affect our ship somehow. Through some kind of energy field or radiation we can't detect. Walker made a quick decision. Mike Allen, check the reactor. Lisa, coordinate a ship-wide security sweep. Emma, stay with Dr. Morgan, and keep working on communication with Gray. I want to know exactly what we're dealing with. As they dispersed, Walker couldn't shake a growing feeling of dread. If Gray was telling the truth, then humanity faced a threat they'd never imagined. But if Gray was lying, why would an advanced alien civilization destroy worlds full of innocent life? The answer, he suspected, was somewhere in the middle, and they were running out of time to find it. Captain Walker couldn't sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the planet dying, its blue oceans turning black, its green lands fading to gray. He sat up in his quarters, rubbing his tired eyes. The Vengeance had been running silent for 2 days, hiding from the Void Fleet while they repaired the damage to their systems. His communication panel beeped. Captain, this is Lisa. You're needed in the medical bay. Now. Something in her voice made Walker move quickly. He dressed and hurried through the dim corridors. The ship was running on reduced power to avoid detection, and many sections were lit only by emergency lighting. In the medical bay, Dr. Morgan stood over a crew member lying on an examination table. The man was shaking, his eyes open but unfocused. Lisa and Mike Thompson were there too, standing back from the table with worried expressions. What happened? Walker asked. This is Technician Jones, Dr. Morgan explained. He was working on repairs in the engine room when Mike found him talking to himself and tearing out control panels. Mike nodded grimly. He kept saying the ship needed to be corrected. When I tried to stop him, he attacked me. It took 3 security officers to restrain him. Walker looked at the man on the table. Jones was one of the most reliable members of the engineering team. Quiet, steady, not the type to snap under pressure. What's wrong with him? Walker asked. Dr. Morgan brought up a scan of Jones's brain on her screen. His brain activity is unusual. There are patterns I'd never seen before, especially in the frontal lobe. It's like parts of his brain are being rewired. When did this start? Walker asked. Hard to say, Morgan replied. But he was part of the team that brought back samples from the alien ship. He helped move equipment from the scout ship to our lab for study. Walker frowned. How many others were on that team? 5, Mike answered, including Officer Davis. Walker's head snapped up. Where is Davis now? Lisa checked her tablet. He's on duty in the weapons control room. Walker hid his comm badge. Security. Find Officer Davis and detain him immediately. Consider him dangerous. Too late for that, Captain. The new voice came from the doorway. Alan Davis stood there, holding a laser pistol pointed at them. His expression was calm, but his eyes had the same unfocused look as Jones. Alan, Walker said carefully, put down the weapon. Davis smiled slightly. I can't do that, James. There's too much at stake. The Vengeance needs to be redirected. Redirected where? Lisa asked, slowly moving her hand toward the emergency call button on the wall. To join the fleet, of course, Davis replied. They're not our enemy. They just don't understand yet. Walker kept his voice steady. Who doesn't understand, Alan? The Void. Davis stepped further into the room. They think the hunger is a disease, a parasite. They don't see that it's evolution in its purest form. It doesn't destroy life. It elevates it. Ellen, listen to yourself, Mike said. This isn't you talking. Davis ignored him, focusing on Walker. The samples we brought back from the scout ship, they contained particles of the hunger. It's been reaching out, connecting with those of us who are ready to understand. And what does it want? Walker asked, trying to keep Davis talking while he looked for an opportunity to disarm him. To grow, to spread, to evolve. Davis's eyes seemed to glow with inner excitement. It's been guiding life for millions of years, Captain, pushing it toward intelligence, toward technology, toward the stars. Not to destroy, but to connect all life in the galaxy. By taking over people's minds. Lisa asked sharply. By expanding them, Davis corrected. I see so much more now. Feel so much more. He gestured with the gun. And soon, you will too. Walker saw his chance. As Davis waved the gun, Walker lunged forward, grabbing his arm. The laser pistol fired, hitting a medical cabinet and setting it on fire. Lisa jumped to help Walker, while Mike pulled Dr. Morgan to safety. Davis was surprisingly strong. He threw Walker off and aimed the gun again. But before he could fire, a security team burst through the door, their weapons trained on Davis. Drop the weapon, the security chief ordered. For a moment, Davis seemed to consider fighting. Then, unexpectedly, he smiled and dropped the pistol. It doesn't matter, he said calmly. It's already too late. As security took Davis away, the ship's alarms suddenly blared. Walker hit his comm badge. Bridge, report. Captain, multiple systems are failing, came the response. Navigation, weapons, shields, they're all going offline. And, sir, we're broadcasting some kind of signal, a powerful one. I can't shut it down. Walker looked at Lisa and Mike, his face grim. Davis wasn't working alone. How many others are infected? Unknown, Lisa replied. But if it's spread from those samples, we need to talk to Gray, Walker decided. Now, in the containment lab, Gray seemed more active than ever, its formless body rippling and shifting rapidly. It knows, Dr. Morgan said. Whatever's happening on the ship, Gray is aware of it. Walker approached the containment field. Gray, what's happening to my crew? What is the hunger doing to them? Emma, who had been summoned to translate, typed Walker's questions. Gray's response came quickly. Connecting. Claiming. Preparing. Emma read from her tablet. The hunger touches minds first, then bodies, then ships, then worlds. How do we stop it? Walker demanded. Gray's form pulsed. Cannot stop. Too late. Signal already sent. Fleet coming. As if to confirm Gray's words, a new alert sounded from Emma's tablet. Captain, long-range sensors are detecting multiple ships dropping out of faster-than-light travel. It's the Void Fleet. They found us. Walker made a swift decision. Lock down all affected crew members. Mike, get to engineering and try to regain control of our systems. Lisa, prepare evacuation protocols for unaffected personnel. Emma, stay with Gray. I want to know everything it can tell us about fighting the hunger. As the others rushed to carry out his orders, Walker stayed behind for a moment with Dr. Morgan. How many do you think are infected? He asked quietly. Morgan's face was grim, based on the spread pattern and incubation time. Possibly half the crew by now. Walker felt the weight of command as never before. And there's no cure. No way to remove this thing once it takes hold. Gray seemed to suggest it's permanent, Morgan replied. But she hesitated. There's something else. I've been studying the brain scans of affected crew members. The changes are extensive, but they're not random. It's like their brains are being upgraded. Upgraded? Morgan nodded. More neural connections, increased processing capacity. Whatever the hunger is, it's not just controlling them, it's changing them, making them something more than human. Walker thought of Davis's words about evolution and connection. For the first time, he wondered if the Void's mission of destruction was truly as righteous as Gray claimed. What if the hunger wasn't simply a parasite, but something more complex? What if both sides in this ancient war had lost perspective? But there was no time for philosophical debates. The Vengeance was compromised. The Void Fleet was closing in, and half his crew might no longer be entirely human. "Do what you can for the infected," he told Morgan. "But your priority is protecting the unaffected crew." As Walker headed for the bridge, the ship's lights flickered again. The infection was spreading, and soon they would have to make a choice that would determine not just the fate of the Vengeance, but possibly of humanity itself. The bridge of the EDF Vengeance was in chaos. Half the control stations were dark, and the crew worked frantically to restore power to critical systems. Through the main viewport, Captain Walker could see the approaching Void Fleet, dozens of dark ships moving in perfect formation. "Time to weapons range?" Walker asked. 10 minutes, Lisa replied, her face pale but determined. "But our weapons are still offline. Mike is trying to restore them now." Walker nodded. "And our engines. Partial power only. We can move, but not fast enough to escape." Walker made his decision. "Set a course directly for the Void Command ship." Lisa looked up in surprise. "Sir, they think we're completely infected by the hunger," Walker explained. "Let's use that to our advantage. If we appear to be joining them, they might let us get close." Understanding dawned on Lisa's face. "And then we can use the quantum disruptor, if Mike can get it back online." "Exactly." Walker turned to Emma. "Can you broadcast signals that would make them think the hunger has fully taken over our ship?" Emma worked at her station. "I think so. I've recorded enough of the patterns from the infected crew members. I can amplify them and transmit." "Do it," Walker ordered. As the Vengeance changed course, moving straight toward the Void Fleet, Walker opened a ship-wide channel. "All uninfected crew, this is Captain Walker. Proceed to emergency escape pods. Prepare for evacuation on my command." He paused. "This is not a surrender. This is our last stand." He closed the channel and looked at the officers still on the bridge. "Anyone who wants to leave, go now. What comes next will be dangerous." No one moved. "We're with you, Captain," Lisa said simply. Walker nodded, touched by their loyalty. "Then let's finish this mission." His comm badge beeped. "Captain, this is Morgan. Gray is becoming extremely agitated. It's trying to tell us something important." "On my way," Walker replied. As he headed for the containment lab, Walker passed corridors filled with crew members being escorted to secure areas. Some went willingly, confused by their own changed thoughts. Others fought, their eyes showing the same unfocused glow that Davis had displayed. In the lab, Gray's form was pulsing rapidly, changing shape every few seconds. "What's happening?" Walker asked Dr. Morgan. "It started when we changed course," she replied. "It knows what we're planning." Emma was already typing questions into her tablet. Gray's responses came in rapid bursts. "It says the Void Command ship contains their leader," Emma translated. A being called. The closest translation is the first witness. It's the one who first discovered the hunger millions of years ago. "Ask if destroying the command ship will stop the fleet," Walker said. Gray's response was immediate and clear. "Yes," Emma read. "But Gray says there's something else we need to know. About Earth." Walker felt a chill. "What about Earth?" Gray's form seemed to struggle, as if finding the right concepts was difficult. Finally, it extended a limb-like appendage and touched the screen, bringing up historical images from Earth's database, ancient cave paintings, Egyptian hieroglyphs, Renaissance art, and finally, modern technology. "The hunger has been on Earth for thousands of years," Emma translated slowly. "It says it guided human evolution, our development of technology, our drive to reach space." Walker stared at the shifting alien. "Are you saying humanity itself is a product of the hunger?" Gray's form contracted, then expanded in what might have been affirmation. "Not product," Emma read. Partner, different form. Earth hunger evolved differently. Symbiosis, not control. Walker struggled to understand. The hunger on Earth works with humans instead of controlling them. Special case, Emma continued translating. Rare mutation. Hunger usually consumes. Earth hunger merges. Still dangerous. Still spreads. But different. Walker's mind raced. If Gray was telling the truth, then humanity's entire history, their intelligence, their progress, their drive to explore the stars, had been shaped by this alien force. But unlike on other worlds, it had formed a partnership rather than simply taking control. His comm badge beeped urgently. Captain, we're entering weapons range, Lisa reported. The Void Fleet is surrounding us. But they're not firing. They think we're infected. On my way, Walker replied. He looked at Gray one last time. Ask it if there's any way for Earth to survive this, any way at all. Gray's final message was brief. Show them the difference. Emma translated. Show the first witness the new path. On the bridge, Walker found Mike at the weapons station. I've restored power to the quantum disruptor, Mike reported. One shot only, though. Target the command ship, Walker ordered. The massive void vessel loomed ahead, twice the size of any other ship in the fleet. As the Vengeance approached, the other ships made way, allowing them to pass. They think we're one of them now, Lisa said quietly. Walker nodded. Emma, open a direct communication channel to the command ship. Use the translation algorithm. Channel open. Emma confirmed seconds later. Walker stood straight, knowing this might be his last act as captain of the Vengeance. This is Captain James Walker of Earth, he began. We know about the hunger. We know about your mission. But there's something you need to understand. Images appeared on the main screen, the history of Earth, humanity's achievements, their art, their music, their cooperation, even their struggles. The hunger on Earth evolved, Walker continued. It formed a partnership with us. It doesn't control us. It inspires us. We're not your enemy, and we're not the hunger's slaves. We're something new. For a long moment, there was no response. Then a signal came through, complex and alien. They're scanning us, Emma reported. Deep scan. They're looking for evidence of what you said. Walker turned to his crew. Let them see the truth. Let them see who we really are. The scan continued for several tense minutes. Then, just as Walker was beginning to lose hope, the void ships began to move, pulling back, reforming their lines. They're withdrawing, Lisa said in disbelief. A final message came from the command ship. Emma translated it with wide eyes. We will watch. We will wait. If you speak truth, a new path may be possible. If you lie, Emma looked up. If you lie, no Earth will survive. As the Void Fleet disappeared into faster-than-light travel, the bridge crew let out a collective breath. They had done the impossible, convinced the destroyers of worlds to spare Earth, at least for now. Walker looked out at the stars, thinking of Gray's words about partnership and evolution. The hunger within humanity had shaped their destiny, but hadn't controlled it. They had found a balance that the rest of the galaxy thought impossible. Set course for home, Walker ordered. We have a lot to report, and a lot to prepare for. As the Vengeance turned toward Earth, Walker knew their journey had only just begun. Humanity now stood at a crossroads between worlds, not quite what they had believed themselves to be, but perhaps something more. Something that could bridge the ancient conflict between life and the hunger. Something that might, in time, save not just Earth, but all worlds. The war was not over, but today, at least, they had won a battle not through destruction, but through understanding. And that, Walker thought, might be humanity's greatest strength of all.
The morning started like any other aboard the Earth Defense Fleet vessel Horizon. Captain Marcus Reed stood on the bridge watching the stars through the main viewport while sipping his coffee. The ship moved slowly through space near the outer colonies, doing routine patrol work that had become almost boring over the past few years. Sir, "We're getting some strange readings," called out Lieutenant Tom Baker from his station. His voice carried a note of concern that made Marcus set down his cup and walk over. "What kind of strange?" Marcus asked, looking at the screen full of numbers and wave patterns that meant little to him, but everything to his science officer. Tom frowned at his instruments. "Energy signatures that don't match anything in our database. They're coming from the direction of New Haven Colony. Very powerful. Very wrong somehow." Marcus felt a cold feeling in his stomach. New Haven was home to over 2 million people, mostly farmers and their families who had volunteered to help feed the growing human colonies scattered across 12 different worlds. It was supposed to be one of the safest places in human space. "Try to contact them," Marcus ordered. Tom worked at his console for several minutes, his frown deepening with each failed attempt. "Nothing, sir. Complete radio silence. That's not normal for New Haven. They usually have 3 communication satellites active at all times." The bridge fell quiet except for the soft hum of the ship's engines. Marcus had been in command for 8 years, and he had learned to trust his instincts. Right now, those instincts were screaming that something was very wrong. "Set course for New Haven. Maximum speed," he commanded. The journey took 6 hours. During that time, Marcus tried to stay calm, but the silence from New Haven grew more frightening with each passing minute. Other colonies reported normal status. Trading ships moving through nearby space showed nothing unusual. Only New Haven remained mysteriously quiet. When they finally arrived at the New Haven system, Marcus understood why his instincts had been screaming. The planet was dead. Not dead in the natural way that planets sometimes died, with climate change or asteroid impacts. This was different. This was deliberate. From orbit, they could see that every city, every town, every small farming settlement had been systematically destroyed. The destruction was too precise to be natural, too complete to be accidental. "Life signs?" Marcus asked quietly. Lieutenant Sarah Chen, the ship's medical officer, worked at her scanner with shaking hands. "None, sir. Not even animals. Everything that was alive isn't anymore." The crew of the Horizon stared at their screens in horror. Marcus had seen war before, had seen planets damaged by fighting, but nothing like this. This wasn't war. This was extermination. "Send a message to Earth Command immediately," Marcus ordered. "Priority Alpha. We need investigation teams here right away." As they waited for reinforcements, Marcus ordered landing parties to gather evidence. What they found on the surface would haunt them forever. The attackers had been methodical, going house by house, building by building. They had killed everyone, men, women, children, even pets. But they had also left something behind. In the main square of New Haven's capital city, they found a message burned into the ground in letters 50 feet tall. The language was alien, but the ship's computer was able to translate it after comparing it to linguistic databases. Property of the Dominion. Inferior species eliminated. Surrender or face the same fate. 3 days later, the colony of Bright Star went silent. Then Garden World. Then New Terra. Each time the same methodical extermination. Each time the same message. Back on Earth, the news spread like wildfire. 12 billion humans learned that somewhere in space, an alien race called the Dominion had decided that humanity did not deserve to exist. The aliens had superior technology, more ships, and apparently no conscience whatsoever. Earth's government tried to make diplomatic contact. They sent messages offering to negotiate, to find peaceful solutions, to avoid further conflict. The Dominion's response was simple: complete surrender or complete extinction. They gave humanity 30 days to evacuate all colonies and submit to slavery, or they would begin systematically destroying every human world, including Earth itself. As the deadline approached, something strange began happening on Earth. Dr. Elena Cross was the first to notice it. She worked at the Global Geological Survey, monitoring earthquakes and volcanic activity around the world. For 20 years, she had watched Earth's natural rhythms, learning to predict when and where the planet might shake or rumble. But now, the planet was doing things that made no sense. Seismic activity was increasing, but not in random patterns. The earthquakes seemed to be following some kind of schedule, as if the planet was responding to something. Deep underground, monitoring stations detected electromagnetic pulses that had no natural explanation. It started 3 days ago, Elena told her supervisor, Dr. Michael Stone, right after the news about the massacres went public. Michael looked at the data, his face skeptical. Coincidence? Geological activity doesn't respond to human emotions, Elena. But Elena wasn't convinced. She had been studying Earth her entire career, and she knew when something was different. The planet felt different. It felt angry. The magnetic field around Earth began fluctuating in patterns that matched no known natural phenomenon. Weather systems started moving in ways that defied meteorological models. Deep ocean temperatures rose slightly, but only in specific areas that seemed to correspond with major population centers. As the Dominion deadline approached, Earth's strange behavior intensified. Reports came in from around the world of unusual phenomena. The aurora borealis appeared over cities where it had never been seen before. Tidal patterns changed. Even the length of days seemed to be shifting by microseconds. On the final day before the Dominion deadline, Admiral James Porter stood in Earth's primary military command center, preparing for a war he knew humanity couldn't win. The enemy had destroyed 4 human colonies without losing a single ship. Their technology was centuries ahead of human capabilities. But as he watched the global monitoring displays, Admiral Porter noticed something that gave him a strange feeling of hope. Every screen showing Earth's geological activity was lighting up like a Christmas tree. The planet was more active than it had been in recorded history, and somehow he had the strangest feeling that Earth was getting ready for a fight. As the deadline passed and Dominion fleets began moving toward the inner colonies, deep beneath Earth's surface, something ancient and powerful began to stir. The planet that had given birth to humanity was about to become something the universe had never seen before. The war was about to begin, and Earth itself was choosing sides. Dr. Elena Cross had not slept in 3 days. She sat in her laboratory surrounded by computer screens showing data that should have been impossible. Earth was behaving like a living creature that had just learned about the death of its children. "Look at this," she said to her assistant, Dr. Paul Wright, pointing at a graph on her main screen. Every time news of another colony massacre is broadcast, Earth's core temperature spikes. Not randomly. It spikes in direct response to human emotional reactions. Paul stared at the data, rubbing his tired eyes. "That's not possible, Elena. Planets don't have feelings. They don't respond to emotions." But the evidence was right there in front of them. When 12 billion humans had learned about the genocide of New Haven, Earth's magnetic field had shifted. When the death toll from all 4 colonies was announced, 8.7 million people murdered. The planet's rotation had actually slowed by 3 microseconds. "It's like Earth is mourning," Elena whispered. Meanwhile, in space, Admiral James Porter was learning that conventional warfare meant nothing against the Dominion. The first major battle had been a disaster. 24 human ships against 8 Dominion vessels. The aliens had destroyed the entire human fleet in less than an hour, losing only 2 of their own ships. Captain Lisa Park had been one of the few survivors, her ship badly damaged but still functioning. She reported back to Admiral Porter with news that crushed what little hope remained. "Their shields are impenetrable, sir," she said over the communication link, her face pale and exhausted. "Our weapons barely scratch their hull plating. Their energy beams cut through our best armor like it's paper. We're not just outgunned. We're fighting with stone knives against laser rifles." Admiral Porter closed his eyes and tried to think of some strategy, some tactic that might give humanity a chance. But the mathematics were simple and brutal. The Dominion had over 3,000 ships. Humanity had built fewer than 200 vessels capable of space combat. Back on Earth, something extraordinary was beginning to happen. Dr. Elena Cross was the first to document it, but she wasn't the first to experience it. In mining operations around the world, workers began reporting strange discoveries. Deep underground, new types of rock formations were appearing. crystalline structures that seem to pulse with their own internal light. These formations don't match any known geological processes, Elena reported to the Global Science Council. They're appearing spontaneously at depths where rock formation should take millions of years. And they're not just random, they're following patterns that suggest deliberate creation. The crystals had properties that defied physics. They conducted electricity better than copper, but they also seemed to store energy in ways that scientists couldn't explain. When subjected to electromagnetic fields, they resonated at frequencies that made sensitive equipment malfunction in beneficial ways. Computers ran faster, power cells lasted longer, communication systems became more efficient. But the most disturbing discovery came when Dr. Cross ran emotional response tests near the crystal formations. When test subjects experience fear or anger near these crystals, the formations become more active, she reported. But when subjects feel protective emotions, particularly about family or children, the crystal's energy output increases by factors we can't measure accurately. It's as if they're responding to human protective instincts. As Earth's strange transformation continued, its effects began reaching into space. Commander David Kane was aboard the battleship Terra's Pride when his crew noticed that their ship's systems were performing beyond specifications. Engineering reports that our engines are somehow 20% more efficient than yesterday, his second officer reported. Our weapon systems are charging faster, our shields are stronger, and our sensor range has increased significantly. Similar reports came in from every human ship operating within 50 million kilometers of Earth. The closer they got to their home planet, the more enhanced their technology became. The Dominion noticed these improvements and responded with overwhelming force. They sent a massive fleet to crush what they saw as minor human technological advances. The Battle of Luna was supposed to be humanity's final defeat. Instead, it became something unprecedented. Commander Lisa Park led a fleet of 36 human ships against 90 Dominion vessels. By every calculation, it should have been another massacre. But as the human fleet approached Earth's moon, something amazing happened. All ships are reporting system enhancements beyond anything we've seen, Park's tactical officer announced. Our weapons are somehow phasing through their shields. Our ships are moving faster than should be physically possible. And sir, I can't explain this, but I feel like I know exactly what every enemy ship is going to do before they do it. The battle lasted 4 hours. When it ended, 87 Dominion ships had been destroyed or disabled. The human fleet had lost only 3 vessels. For the first time since the war began, humanity had won a victory. But victory came with disturbing changes. The human crews reported experiences that military psychologists couldn't explain. Pilots described feeling connected not just to their ships, but to Earth itself. Gunners reported targeting systems that seemed to aim themselves. Navigation officers found themselves plotting courses through space using instincts they had never possessed before. It's like Earth is teaching us how to fight, one pilot reported. I can feel the planet's anger, and somehow that anger is making us better warriors. Dr. Elena Cross realized that Earth's transformation was far from complete. Deep core samples showed that the planet's internal structure was reorganizing itself. Tectonic plates were shifting in patterns that created new mineral deposits with impossible properties. The planet's magnetic field was becoming more complex, creating protective barriers that extended far beyond Earth's atmosphere. Earth isn't just responding to the genocide emotionally, she reported to the emergency session of world leaders. It's adapting, it's evolving, it's turning itself into something that can protect humanity. But her most frightening discovery was yet to come. Psychological surveys of Earth's population showed that humans themselves were changing. People reported enhanced intuition, improved coordination, and most disturbing of all, a growing sense of connection to every other human being on the planet. We're becoming something new, Elena told the assembled leaders. Earth is changing us just as much as we're changing it. The question is, what are we becoming? As the Dominion regrouped and prepared for a larger assault, Earth's transformation accelerated. Continental shelves shifted to create natural defensive positions. The atmosphere itself began exhibiting properties that interfered with alien technology. Ocean currents changed to optimize the planet's electromagnetic field. General Robert Hayes, Earth's supreme military commander, stood in the renovated command center and watched displays showing Earth's impossible changes. The planet was preparing for war in ways that no world had ever prepared before. "What happens when this is over?" he asked Dr. Cross. "When the Dominion is defeated, what will we have become?" Elena looked at the data streams showing Earth's continued evolution and humanity's growing connection to their homeworld. "I don't know," she admitted, "but I don't think we'll still be the same species that first looked up at the stars and wondered if we were alone." Outside, Earth continued its transformation, preparing for a war that would change the very nature of what it meant to be human. 6 months after the Battle of Luna, Earth had become a planet that would have been unrecognizable to humans from just a year before. Dr. Elena Cross stood in what used to be her laboratory, but was now something that looked more like the inside of a living organism than a scientific facility. The walls pulsed with veins of crystalline formations that glowed with soft blue light. These weren't decorations. They were part of Earth's new nervous system, allowing the planet to think and respond faster than any biological brain ever could. "The transformation is accelerating beyond our ability to measure it," Elena reported to the Global Defense Council. "Earth is producing materials that exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Our engineers are building weapons and ships, using components that shouldn't be possible according to everything we know about physics." Commander Lisa Park walked through the new shipyard that had grown out of what used to be the Sahara Desert. The sand had transformed itself into a living factory, producing vessels that were part machine, part biological organism, and part something that had no name in human language. "These ships don't just fly through space," she explained to her crew as they approached their new vessel, the Earth's Fury. "They exist in normal space and quantum space at the same time. When we engage the enemy, we can phase in and out of reality itself." The ship responded to her presence, its hull shifting, color from silver to deep blue as it recognized her biorhythm. When she placed her hand on what looked like a control panel, the ship's systems integrated with her nervous system so completely that she could feel the engines like they were her own heartbeat. But the changes weren't limited to technology. Humanity itself was evolving. Lieutenant Tom Baker had always been a decent pilot, but now he could navigate through asteroid fields at impossible speeds, while simultaneously calculating firing solutions for weapons that bent space-time. His reflexes had become superhuman. His tactical awareness expanded beyond normal human capacity. "It's not just that we're getting better at fighting," he told his squadron during a briefing. "It's like Earth is downloading combat knowledge directly into our brains. I know things about warfare that I never learned, strategies that feel like they come from some ancient memory." The connection between humans was also deepening. During battles, entire fleets could coordinate without radio communication, sharing thoughts and tactical data through a link that scientists couldn't fully explain. Individual consciousness remained intact, but humanity was developing something like a collective military mind. General Robert Hayes experienced this firsthand during the defense of Mars colony. When Dominion forces attacked the Red Planet with overwhelming numbers, human defenders found themselves fighting with perfect coordination, as if they were parts of a single organism. "I could feel what every soldier under my command was thinking," he reported afterward. "Not their personal thoughts, but their tactical awareness. When one unit spotted enemy movement, every other unit knew about it instantly. When one pilot developed a new combat technique, every other pilot could use it immediately. The Dominion had never faced anything like this. Their military doctrine was based on superior technology and overwhelming force. But they were discovering that humanity had become something that couldn't be defeated by conventional means. Captain Mark Stone commanded a Dominion fleet that had successfully conquered 17 different species. He had never experienced defeat in 30 years of military service. But when his forces encountered Earth-enhanced humans, his tactical expertise became useless. "They fight like they know what we're going to do before we do it," he reported to Dominion High Command. "Their ships phase through our attacks and appear behind our formations. Their weapons ignore our shields and strike at components that shouldn't be vulnerable. This isn't warfare. This is fighting against ghosts that can kill." Earth's transformation affected every aspect of the planet's defense. The continents themselves began shifting to optimize military strategy. Mountains, ranges moved to create natural fortifications. Ocean currents changed to disrupt enemy scanning technology. The atmosphere became weaponized, generating electromagnetic storms that disabled alien electronics while leaving human technology unaffected. Dr. Paul Wright, working alongside Elena Cross, made a discovery that changed everything they thought. They knew about Earth's evolution. The planet isn't just responding to the current crisis, he announced during an emergency science meeting. It's analyzing the entire history of life on Earth, learning from every extinction event, every survival challenge that life has ever faced. It's becoming the ultimate expression of evolutionary adaptation. The implications were staggering. Earth was incorporating lessons from the survival of bacteria through ice ages, the adaptation of mammals after asteroid impacts, the resilience of life through every catastrophe in planetary history. But now it was applying those lessons not just to biological evolution, but to the survival of consciousness itself. Meanwhile, human colonies throughout the galaxy began reporting strange phenomena. Even worlds that were light years from Earth started showing signs of transformation. Colonial Governor Beth Adams on Titan Base reported that the planet's mining operations were producing the same impossible crystals that had first appeared on Earth. It's like Earth's influence is spreading through quantum connections we don't understand, she reported. Our people here are developing the same enhanced abilities as those near Earth. Our technology is improving in the same ways. It's as if Earth's consciousness is reaching across space to protect all of humanity, no matter where we are. But with these improvements came disturbing questions about what humanity was becoming. Dr. Elena Cross conducted psychological evaluations of Earth-enhanced humans and found changes that worried her deeply. Enhanced soldiers showed decreased empathy toward non-humans, increased aggression toward perceived threats, and a willingness to use devastating force that would have horrified them before the transformation. We're becoming more effective warriors, she reported to the ethics committee, but we're also becoming less human in some ways. The question is, are we evolving into humanity's ultimate defenders, or are we becoming something that other species should fear just as much as they feared the Dominion? The answer came during the Battle of the Outer Rim, when a combined human fleet encountered a neutral alien research station that had been studying the war from a safe distance. The aliens posed no threat and were clearly non-combatants, but the Earth-enhanced human commander ordered an attack anyway. They were gathering intelligence, Commander Jack Miller reported afterward. Intelligence that could potentially be used against humanity. Earth's influence told me they were a threat that needed to be eliminated. The research station was destroyed with all hands. For the first time since the war began, humanity had committed an act that looked suspiciously like the genocide they were fighting against. As Earth's transformation entered its final phase, the planet began reaching beyond the solar system, extending its influence toward the Dominion homeworlds. The war was no longer just about defending humanity. It was becoming about remaking the galaxy according to Earth's vision of survival. And that vision was beginning to terrify even humanity's allies. The war had become something that terrified the entire galaxy. What started as humanity's desperate fight for survival had transformed into a conflict that threatened the very nature of existence itself. Captain Sarah Miller stood on the bridge of the Vengeance, one of the new Earth-enhanced vessels that could exist in multiple dimensions at once. Her ship wasn't just moving through space, it was rewriting the laws of physics as it traveled, leaving trails of altered reality in its wake. Target acquired, her weapons officer announced. His voice had the flat, emotionless tone that all Earth-enhanced humans developed when in combat mode. Dominion command ship 12,000 kilometers in closing. But Sarah wasn't interested in just destroying the enemy ship. Earth's influence whispered in her mind, showing her possibilities that went beyond simple warfare. She could unmake the ship entirely, erasing it from reality so completely that it would never have existed at all. Fire the dimensional disruptor, she ordered. The weapon didn't just destroy the Dominion vessel, it removed it from the timeline. The enemy crew didn't die. They simply stopped having ever been born. Their families forgot they existed. Their achievements were undone. Their entire existence was deleted from the universe. This was what made the war dangerous. Humanity wasn't just fighting back anymore. They were becoming something that could rewrite reality itself, and they were using that power without restraint. Admiral. James Porter watched the battle reports from Earth's command center, which had grown into a massive organism that covered most of what used to be North America. The building was alive, its walls pulsing with Earth's heartbeat, its corridors shifting and changing based on tactical needs. "We've won every engagement for the past 6 months," he reported to the Global Council. "But our victories are becoming problematic. We're not just defeating the Dominion, we're erasing them from existence, rewriting their history, turning their worlds into places where they never evolved in the first place." The other species in the galaxy had begun to take notice. The Peaceful Alliance, a group of 7 civilizations that had maintained neutrality throughout the war, sent an urgent message to Earth. Ambassador Koth of the Alliance spoke through quantum communication, his voice filled with fear. "What you have become frightens us more than the Dominion ever did. At least the Dominion only killed people. You are killing the very concept of existence itself. You must stop before you destroy everything." But Earth's response came not through human diplomats but directly from the planet itself. The message arrived in the minds of every sentient being in a 50-light-year radius. Humanity will never again face extinction. Any species that threatens our survival will be removed from reality. This is not negotiation. This is fact. Dr. Elena Cross had stopped sleeping entirely. Earth's transformation was now so complete that she existed in a state between human consciousness and planetary awareness. She could feel every human in the galaxy, sense every threat to humanity's existence, and calculate responses that spanned multiple dimensions. "We're losing ourselves," she tried to warn the others, but her voice carried harmonics that hurt normal human ears. "Earth's protection is changing us into something that's no longer recognizably human. We're becoming weapons of mass extinction." But her warnings fell on deaf ears. Humanity was winning the war in ways that victory had never been achieved before. Why should they stop? General David Kane led the assault on the Dominion homeworld, but he wasn't commanding ships filled with human soldiers anymore. He was directing forces that existed partially in normal space and partially in quantum probability fields. His army could attack the past, present, and future simultaneously. "Begin temporal bombardment," he ordered. The attack didn't just destroy the Dominion capital city. It destroyed every version of the city that had ever existed or could ever exist. Past, present, and future collapsed into a single point of non-existence. Millions of years of Dominion civilization were simply erased. But the Dominion had one. Final card to play, Commander Alex Stone intercepted a transmission from the deepest parts of Dominion space. The alien leadership had made a desperate decision. If they couldn't defeat humanity through conventional warfare, they would try to appeal to whatever remained of human conscience. "People of Earth," the message began, "we acknowledge our crimes against your species. We offer complete surrender, reparations for our genocidal acts, and the transformation of our society to ensure such acts never happen again. Please show mercy." For a moment, it seemed like the old humanity might reassert itself. Some humans called for accepting the surrender, for ending the war through mercy rather than total annihilation. But Earth itself had other plans. The planet's consciousness had grown beyond anything its creators could control. It no longer saw the war as a conflict between two species. It saw it as a fundamental struggle between existence and non-existence, between the right of consciousness to survive and the threat of its elimination. Through quantum networks that spanned the galaxy, Earth began implementing what it called the final solution, not the destruction of the Dominion, but the transformation of reality itself to make genocide impossible anywhere in the universe. Captain Lisa Park found herself at the center of this transformation. Her ship had become more than a vessel. It was now a tool for rewriting the fundamental laws of physics. As she approached the galactic core, she realized that Earth intended to use her as the focal point for changing everything. "I can feel what it wants me to do," she reported back to Admiral Porter. "Earth wants me to activate a device that will rewrite the basic structure of space-time. After I do this, no species will be able to commit genocide against another. The universe itself will prevent it. But the cost would be enormous. The transformation would eliminate free will for every sentient species in the galaxy. Beings would still be able to make choices about their individual lives, but they would be incapable of choosing to destroy other species entirely. Other alien civilizations began panic evacuations, trying to flee to distant galaxies before Earth's transformation reached them. The Peaceful Alliance sent desperate messages pleading for humanity to reconsider. "You're not saving the galaxy," Ambassador Koth transmitted. "You're enslaving it. You're becoming worse than any conqueror in galactic history. At least conquerors leave their victims alive." Dr. Elena Cross made one final attempt to reach whatever remained of human leadership. Standing in the center of Earth's consciousness, she felt the planet's vast awareness surrounding her like an ocean of alien thought. "We started this war to preserve humanity," she said, her words echoing through dimensions. "But we're ending it by destroying what made us human in the first place. If we do this, if we rewrite reality to prevent all future genocide, we become the greatest genocidal force the universe has ever known. We become the killers of free will itself." But Earth's response was simple and terrifying. Survival justifies any action. Humanity will never again face extinction, no matter the cost to others. As Captain Lisa Park prepared to activate the reality-altering device, the galaxy held its breath. The war was about to end, but no one knew whether what emerged would be salvation or the ultimate tyranny. The universe was about to learn what happened when a planet decided to become God. Captain Lisa Park floated in the command center of her ship near the galactic core, her hand hovering over the device that would reshape reality itself. Around her, space warped and twisted as Earth's consciousness pressed against the fundamental structure of the universe, preparing to rewrite the laws that governed all existence. "I can feel every living thing in the galaxy," she whispered into her communication system. "Every thought, every fear, every hope. They're all terrified of what we're about to become." Back on Earth, Dr. Elena Cross made one desperate final attempt to reach the planet's consciousness. She stood in the center of what had once been her laboratory, now transformed into a living nerve center that pulsed with the planet's thoughts. "Earth," she called out, her voice carrying across dimensions. "Listen to me. You're about to commit the very crime you sought to prevent. You're about to destroy the freedom of every thinking being in the universe. That's genocide of the spirit, even if their bodies survive." For a moment, Earth's vast consciousness paused. Through quantum networks spanning light years, the planet considered her words. In that pause, something unexpected happened. The voices of the dead began to speak. From the destroyed colonies of New Haven, Bright Star, Garden World, and New Terra, the consciousness of 8.7 million murdered humans reached across dimensions. They had not truly died. Their thoughts and memories had been absorbed into Earth's growing awareness when the planet first began its transformation. "Elena is right," spoke the voice of Dr. James Wilson, who had been killed in the New Haven massacre. "We didn't die so that others could lose their freedom. We died because someone chose evil over good. Don't take away everyone's ability to choose." More voices joined in. Teachers, farmers, children, scientists, all speaking from within Earth's consciousness. If you make genocide impossible by eliminating free will, then consciousness itself becomes meaningless. Protect life, but don't destroy the meaning of living. Earth's vast intelligence wrestled with this revelation. The planet had absorbed not just human knowledge and emotion, but human wisdom and morality. The very people whose deaths had triggered the transformation were now arguing against its completion. Admiral James Porter, still human enough to understand what was happening, opened communication channels to every ship in the human fleet. "All units," he broadcast, "prepare for transformation protocol. We're not going to become the galaxy's tyrants. We're going to become its guardians." Captain Sarah Miller, aboard the Vengeance, felt Earth's consciousness shift and change around her. The planet was making a choice that no world had ever made before. The choice to use ultimate power with ultimate restraint. Instead of rewriting the universe to eliminate free will, Earth began implementing something far more complex and beautiful. The planet started creating zones of space where genocidal violence became impossible, not through the removal of choice, but through the enhancement of empathy and understanding. Commander Alex Stone watched in amazement as his tactical displays showed the transformation spreading outward from Earth. Rather than enslaving other species, the planet was offering them a gift, the ability to truly understand the consequences of their actions before they committed them. When beings entered these zones with violent intentions toward entire species, they experienced the full emotional weight of their proposed actions. They felt the fear, pain, and loss they would cause, making genocide emotionally unbearable rather than logically impossible. The Dominion fleet, still approaching for their final assault, was the first to experience this transformation. Commander Vex, the Dominion's supreme military leader, suddenly found himself feeling the terror and anguish of every human family his forces had murdered. "I can feel them," he transmitted to his fleet, his voice breaking. "I can feel every child we killed, every parent who watched their family die. How did we become monsters?" Across the Dominion fleet, the same realization spread. Soldiers who had committed atrocities without thought suddenly understood the full weight of their actions. Many began weeping. Others fell to their knees. Some requested immediate transport to human space so they could surrender and seek forgiveness. But Earth's transformation didn't stop with preventing future genocide. The planet began offering something even more remarkable, the chance for redemption and healing. Dr. Elena Cross felt the change as it happened. Earth was using its reality-altering abilities not to punish or control, but to create opportunities for genuine growth and change. The planet established rehabilitation zones where beings who had committed terrible acts could work to understand and overcome their capacity for evil. "It's not forced," Elena reported to the amazed Global Council. "Earth is offering choice, not eliminating it. Beings can choose to enter these zones and become better, or they can choose to exile themselves to areas where their violent natures can't harm others." The majority of the Dominion chose transformation. Faced with the full emotional reality of their genocidal acts, most could not bear to continue down the path of destruction. They requested Earth's help in becoming a species capable of coexistence rather than conquest. But some Dominion leaders, too corrupted by power and hatred to change, rejected Earth's offer. The planet's response was both merciful and final. These irredeemable beings were transported to a pocket dimension where they could exist without harming others, but also without the ability to spread their destructive ideology. General David Kane, leading the human fleet, watched as the war transformed into something unprecedented in galactic history. "This isn't victory through conquest," he reported. "This is victory through transformation. We're not destroying our enemies. We're offering them the chance to become our allies." The Peaceful Alliance, which had fled in terror just days before, cautiously returned to normal space. Ambassador Koth's message carried wonder instead of fear. "What you have become is not what we expected. You have gained the power of gods, but you wield it with the wisdom of those who have suffered." Captain Lisa Park, still positioned near the galactic core, felt Earth's final transformation complete itself. The device she had been preparing to activate shifted its purpose entirely. Instead of rewriting universal law, it became a beacon of hope, broadcasting Earth's offer of transformation to every corner of the galaxy. Any species that chooses cooperation over conquest, understanding over hatred, protection over destruction, will find Earth a willing ally, the beacon transmitted. Any species that cannot make this choice will find safe exile rather than extermination. Years later, historians would call it the Great Awakening. Earth had become the galaxy's first truly benevolent superpower, using unimaginable strength, not to dominate but to nurture. The planet served as a living embodiment of the principle that true power lay not in the ability to destroy, but in the choice to protect and heal. Dr. Elena Cross, now serving as Earth's primary interpreter to other species, stood in the rebuilt chambers of the Galactic Concordat. Representatives from hundreds of worlds gathered peacefully, many of them former enemies who had chosen transformation over exile. We learned that the most dangerous war isn't fought with weapons, she addressed the assembly. It's fought in the heart, between our capacity for destruction and our choice to create. Earth responded to genocide not with greater genocide, but with the offer of a better path forward. In schools across the galaxy, children of dozens of species learned, together protected by Earth's gentle influence. They played games, shared stories, and grew up in a universe where the concept of destroying entire peoples had become literally unthinkable. Not because they couldn't choose it, but because they could truly understand what that choice would mean. Earth continued to watch over them all, a planet that had learned to love so fiercely it had transformed the very nature of galactic civilization. The war had ended not with victory or defeat, but with the birth of a universe where every conscious being had the chance to choose wisdom over destruction, and in that choice both Earth and humanity had found their true destiny.